Listen, in the past, maybe I could presume that we could win 2 minutes left, but in the situation that there, Anthony Taylor's say, go to the shower, I never thought about that. It's true that we are not fluid. So we were a team like always play with this composure that now we don't have. What I have to do, keep walking, but I'm the boss, I'm the manager, and I'm not good enough. It's as simple as that. I have to find a way to talk to them, to the training to them, to the way you have to play, the way you have to press, the way you have to build up. And I'm not good enough. I'm not doing well. That is the truth.
Slightly different rhetoric than we've heard from Pep Guardiola over recent weeks. He's saying he is not good enough as Manchester City sit fifth in the table now. They are 9 points off Liverpool at the top, who do have a game in hand. Meanwhile, Manchester United remain in the bottom half of the table. Let's welcome in Luis Garcia, still with us. Frank Leboeuf joins us as well. We'll be hearing from the boys in a moment. But this was such a forgettable match, apart from the ending, which was extraordinary.
They've just gone at the moment. They forgot how to win football games. They forgot how to defend. They've forgotten how to really boss and dominate and stifle opponents and basically have so much of the ball and fizz it about so quickly that the opponent has just become so fed up. And I get it, their defending has been extremely poor recently. They can barely keep a clean sheet. I think Nottingham Forest recently the only one, and it shouldn't have been, only because Ortega made saves and Chris Wood missed chances. It's not just that. It was the fact that when they get this goal from the deflected cross, the match is still even.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not... It wasn't like they were absolutely playing United off the park. I actually liked Man United's shape. I thought their shape was very good. I thought they passed it pretty well for this kind of derby, because if you look back in recent history, they're lucky if they have 30% possession in this game. They're lucky if they see the ball. And this one, they felt really comfortable in the ball, Man United. They just didn't have much guile and, physicality and pace and invention in the final third until near the end of the game. So it was a pretty even game, which you've very rarely said over the past few years. Yes, United have won some of these games on the counter-attack, but they've been played off the park. They were not played off the park. And this is a team that a new manager's come in and he's trying to figure out where all these players can play and how he's going to get the best out of it. Gone toe-to-toe with a team. At the start of the season, there were a lot of people's favourites to win the league. There were a lot of people's favourites to win the Champions League. But they were so inept in the final third, and they were so poor defensively again. It really is shocking. You don't even have to give this team a punch in the nose. You've only got to slap them in the back of the head and they buckle.
Yeah.
And I'll give United a lot of credit for that. But Manchester City, it's hard to fathom out how a side that was so feared across Europe, not just in England, that every time you went to play them, you were going to get an absolute battering. To have said this in the last week or two, Dan, there's not a team that are in the top division anywhere around Europe, be it the Champions League or England, that doesn't feel that they can go and beat this team.
Frank, it was a game that just lacked in any sort of quality.
Oh, exactly. I think it's one of the worst derby Manchester City against Manchester United that I ever watched in my life. And I've seen nothing until the end, but mostly because of defensive mistakes from City. But that was so poor. And again, I'm with Craig in a way that I think United did better than City. I think when they had the ball, they tried to do something. Defensively, they were pretty decent, I have to say. And because of Hamad Diallo, they had possibilities to score, and they did. Good for them. But otherwise, from City, I don't get it. I don't understand. That was the best team in the world last year, like 6 months ago. And from there, they are a mid-table team, and I'm being nice saying that. And I agree with Guardiola. They have nothing. Right now, yes, he's not good enough. It doesn't mean he's not good. But yes, he's not good enough right now because he has to sort all the problems out. But the players, I mean, yes, Mateus Nunes didn't play in this position. Okay. But on the second goal, yeah, I'm not even talking the first goal, but the second goal, Guardiola is not covering, but also Mateus Nunes, even if it's not his position, let Amad Diallo going. He doesn't go, he doesn't follow, he doesn't know what to do, he doesn't know if he has to play offside or not. And Guardiola has to kick the ball out. I don't know what he tries to do. He tries to do a major against when he has to save his goal. I mean, that was insane what I saw from Guardiola today. But overall, we didn't see De Bruyne. No. We barely see Foden. Walker, oh my God, that's only the shadow of himself. And so many others, we don't see them anymore. We don't recognize them. That's frightening. Really, that's scary.
That really is, isn't it, Luis? You take a look at that. Haaland hardly touched the ball. Kevin De Bruyne was taking free kicks. They were going 30 yards high and wide. Doku is so frustrating. Phil Foden, who was the player of the year last year.
Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva, your guy, you used to see him on the ball all the time.
And it's everyone. Everyone is a 2 out of 10 at the moment.
Yes, I think that the feeling of this team is that they just gone. They don't know how to react to this situation. The ideology of how to play, how to make this tiki-taka all the time all together. In the moment that you lose the ball, react straight away, they recover the ball. We don't see that anymore from Manchester City. It was just to be a team that you know that when you play against them, you're never going to touch the ball. You need to, and I think the Man United knew it, that they have to be organized and then make those quick transitions, trying to make a counter-attack, and maybe like this you can create or score a goal, and that's what they did. They knew the plan, but this Manchester City is not anymore that team. The team that they are looking, those triangulars that the Guardiola used to say to try to Bernardo Silva, Foden, De Bruyne, start passing to each other in very short distances, lose the ball, react and recover the ball again because you are close there. There is no anymore that. They just lose, they look sloppy, they look tired. You don't see those transition people tracking back. It's too open when before they used to be very narrow altogether. There is a Manchester City that is not recognizable for quite a long time. And right now, I'm sure that Pep Guardiola is trying to find a way of getting back there. There's been a lot of talk if Rodri was into the field, this could be a big difference, but I don't think the one player can make that much difference up front because they are not creating, and at the back because they are so vulnerable. So, yeah, a lot of work to be done, and let's see if they can redirect the situation. Still a lot of things to do.
That's the interesting point, isn't it? You could say, oh, look at the injuries, and yes, they are missing players at the back. But up top, your big boys are all there. You know, your Silvers, your Haalands, your Fodens, your De Bruynes. And the thing is, if I'm a Manchester City fan, I see no light at the end of the tunnel. Because it's not like, well, this player's going to come back. No, but this one's going to save me.
No, I get it. And the front line has been lacking in the quality and pace and invention and finishing that we're used to. But I dare say it, and I'm not Pep Guardiola, but he's got some big problems. I would suggest starting at the back. I always say this, is that you've got to start by keeping clean sheets, which they can't. But I would suggest trying to work in your back four to work as a unit. That's a starting point. We talk about Barcelona and these other teams. You know, Liverpool have defended well. You know, Arsenal's back four when everybody's fit. They work as a unit up and down. This is all over the place, and I get it. Mateus Nunes was playing on that sort of left side. Sometimes it was a back three when they had the ball because he pushed on. Sometimes he was back in there. But when you've just lost a goal and somebody's made a terrible mistake, you have Nunes, Guardiola, Diaz and Walker. And when Lisandro Martinez is playing that ball from almost 50 yards away, there is absolutely, and I mean absolutely no need for Josep Guardiola to push in 5 to 10 yards on a Man United player here. There's no need for it because that ball then can be... He's got a very inexperienced player in that position on his left-hand side, so then it becomes an easy... Frank's right, he doesn't track the run, but it's not natural for him. So he doesn't track the run, and Guardiola stepped out, and it's so disjointed that it takes a very, very good ball, and it was, and a very good run, but it takes one long ball and one run and they're in. And I suggest this sums up Man City. The defence is disjointed, the whole team is disjointed, and if anything, United were the team that impressed me today with their shape. Mm-hmm. City, they're all moving around as they usually do and blah, 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 but it leaves them open. United's shape really impressed me today. Yes, they didn't create a lot until the end of the game, but they passed it around quite nicely. They were composed on the ball. They switched play at times when they had to. They were the side today, for me, in a poor game, I'll give you that, but that's not on United. United they're having troubled times, right? Trying to rebuild and get into the top half of the league. City are the side that were expected to sort of dominate. So from that perspective, I liked what Man United did, and they probably played as well as they could. But as for Man City, I mean, it's no surprise. You picked them for a win. I thought you picked United for a win. I thought City were going to win. A lot of the guys thought it was going to be a draw. But none of it would have been a surprise, would it? If City had turned up and blown United away, would have went, all right. But United winning and City capitulating at the end.
Yeah.
I mean, what was that? Who was the team that played? Was it Eintracht Frankfurt? Whoever they played? Feyenoord. We've seen this movie before, and worryingly, I think we'll see it again. I don't think it's going away anytime soon.
That's the big concern, isn't it, Frank? If I'm a City fan, that's 1 win in 11, and we just keep seeing the same movie played out over and over again. Defensive frailties, not good enough in the final third, getting overrun in midfield. You kind of think, why is there any sort of glimmer of optimism for this side moving forward? Why are we not just going to see the same thing happen between now and the end of the season?
Because they've been prepared like that and kind of robotized like that. They've been initialized like that. You say we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel because they cannot play otherwise. Guardiola had a successful way of playing. He showed it with Barcelona, a little bit with Bayern Munich, a lot with Manchester City. There is one way of playing. And he had all those players who did very well. But now, physically, maybe mentally, they're not prepared anymore to make the efforts to get the ball back as soon as possible. It's why they concede goals. Because defensively, they never worked for that. They worked offensively. They worked on keeping the ball, tiki-taka, and finding the right space. At the time, you had De Bruyne, you had Rodri, you had so many others, Gundogan, they were at the top of the top, Foden as well, best player last year. They were giving assists like gifts to Alan. You don't see that anymore. Therefore, they're not good, they start to doubt, they don't defend, they not counter-press, and they get the counter-attack, and they get punished at the end of the day. That's how it works. Because they cannot react because they don't know how to play otherwise. It's why I want to see Guardiola trying to find something else. Maybe, as Craig's mentioned, maybe start to not concede goals anymore. But does Guardiola have the individuals for that? I don't know. I'm not sure.
Is it an acceptance of where they are and an acceptance of how worried they are that they allowed Mazraoui and Maguire and Martinez to sort of pass the ball around back to Anana and into a centre-half, and Harry Maguire was able to put his foot on it and get his head up, and they were able to hit these balls, and they got it out to the wing-backs. They would never have been able to do... Well, if they'd tried to do that previously, this City side would have squeezed the game so much. The whole back four's kind of on the halfway line, the midfield's pushed up, the front line are pushed up, and they're just forcing you. They're basically forcing you to shell it up the field or try and play it into your front man, and they win it back, and then they're coming at you again. I don't remember any of that. I remember this being so comfortable for most of the game for that back three to get the ball off Anana and get in possession. And that allowed Man United to get some confidence in the game. But I think it tells you where City are, that either the instruction has come not to press like that, or they just don't feel within the players on the field that they have the legs to do it. Because normally when you go at the Etihad, you don't get that amount of time on the ball as defensive players to get your head up and pick a pass. Now you can.
What next for Pep? How does he deal with this, Luis?
Well, I guess it's a lot to work out of the field. I think these players need to release a little bit of the tension, of the pressure that they are feeling at the moment. And of course, when you go to train, because you cannot stop right now. If not, I'm sure that this this break that they are going to have during the, well, there's no break here for in Premier League, but if you can have a break right now, it would be the perfect moment to try to, again, think about different things, trying to focus on other stuff, try to clear your head, because of what I saw in the body language of the players of City today, not understanding what was happening. In the first 45, they were dominated, but they were not harming Manchester United. So what is coming now is to try to, he mentioned, I need to talk different today, I need to make them understand what we want to do, and maybe change a little bit of the style. Not the style of play, not that philosophy that he's got, but moving players' position, I think it could be fantastic to try to, again, clear their ideas and try to restart again this season.
Talk to me about Kyle Walker, Frank.
I don't understand. I mean, it's like he lost everything. I mean, on the action that maybe you want me to mention with Højlund, a foreign player would have been hammered by the press because he did that. I never seen in my life, while I was playing for Chelsea, an English player going on the floor like that. It never happened. It never happened. It was inexistent at the time. And I'm very disappointed because I highly rank Kyle Walker. I think he's been, at the time, maybe like 2 years ago, the best fullback in the world. Because of his pace, because of his cleverness and everything, he was there. But again, as I said before, he's only the shadow of himself right now. We don't see the Kyle Walker we used to see. He's confused, he makes silly mistakes, he doesn't run as fast as he used to do, and now, on top of it, he's becoming an actor.
Going on Instagram, saying, what did he say again? Yes, love it, kids, love it, lads. This is what Ruben Amorim had to say after the game about the decision to not include them in the squad.
It's important to say why. It was not a disciplinary thing. Next week, next game, new life. They are fighting for the places, but for me it's important the performance in training, the performance in game, the way you dress, the way you eat, the way you engage with the teammates, the way you push your teammates. Everything is important in our context in the beginning of Sunday when we want to change a lot of things, when people in our club are losing their jobs. We have to put the standards really high. And for that, they have to fight for the place in the team. And today, the team proved that we can leave anyone outside the squad. You can manage to win if you play together.
All worked out, obviously, in the end. What sort of statement is he putting out?
Well, look, I wouldn't bat an eyelid if Marcus Rashford wasn't in the starting 11. Wouldn't bat an eyelid at all. The fact he's not in the squad, when he could change a game off the bench, and Garnacho, raises the that it's something out with form. He touched on it there, lifestyle, all the stuff that goes with it. So clearly there is an attitude, at the very bare minimum, an attitude issue. And for Marcus Rashford to be posting on his Instagram while his buddies, his colleagues are out there grafting to get a victory, and he's posting, yes lads, or whatever it was, when he's not there because, allegedly, his attitude, amongst other things, is not good enough, is frankly a joke. He shouldn't be anywhere near social media. He should be keeping his head down, embarrassed that he's not at the Etihad to help. The worst, and I said this to you earlier, one of the worst things that could have happened for Man United in the last 2 or 3 years was Marcus Rashford come out of the doldrums and had this magnificent season a couple of years ago, scored all these goals, and they really were stuck, Man United, in terms of they had to give him a big new contract, right? Because they were in a corner. And in hindsight, right, and we all looked at it at the time, well, they have to give him it, but what are they going to get? And the answer is, he's sitting back on easy street. And I'll say it, and I'm not really, Garnacho's another story, he's a younger player, but Rashford's an England international. He's a star, he's a headliner, he's a match winner. He's capable of getting 25, 30 goals a season, right? The best, and I've played against some of the best players that I've ever played at Man United. The Keanes, the Giggs, the Cantonas, the Scholes, you name it. You know, when they got new contracts, they pushed to be even better. They want to win the league again. They want to win it 2 times, 3 times, the Champions League. Didn't matter if they were on 50 grand a week, 100 grand, or 500 grand a week. It made no difference to them. But Marcus Rashford, and he's not the only one, he got this big new bumper contract, and he could not give a toss. And to sit there and post on social media when you must be embarrassed that you've been shoveled out of the squad by this new manager who doesn't like what he's seen. I would keep my head down and I'd be first at training tomorrow morning or Monday morning or Tuesday morning, whenever it is, and I'd be saying, right, how can I put this right? An utter embarrassment to himself and his football club.
Frank?
I'm with you, Craig, but you think like an old lad, and I really think like you. And there is 2 ways to see the interpretation of him saying something. Some people will say, wow, that's very nice. The guy is not even on the bench. He's at home and he's encouraging his teammates and congratulating his teammates. That's very nice. The guy is part of the group. He's not resentful. He goes for it and he's patient. Some people will think that, really. Where I go with you, where you should, put your head down, don't say anything, don't go onto social network and just go back to work because it's time for you to react. That's what it is. But I really think that for Rashford, Amorim is a little bit lying. I think it's not a discipline sanction, but it's because of the way he doesn't train properly. It's because, well, we were told that now fashion is important. He said the way to dress is important as well. I didn't know that, but whatever. We can talk about the haircut as well, maybe. But really, I really think that Rashford is not doing the job in the training session. Therefore, it's a kind of a discipline sanction for me. He sanctioned him because he doesn't train, he doesn't properly train.
Luis?
Yeah, I think this is a message that is sending to everyone. Once you want to pick something, then and start making a new start of this team, because something is missing, that's definitely, and I think that Ruben just mentioned that we need to start changing a lot of things, and if we want to become the team that we want, we need to be the best at everything, and that's why he mentioned the dressing, the food, how you connect with your teammates, how you push your teammates. I think it's definitely a message and something that either like from Rashford, maybe something that happened into the dressing room. We don't have the all information. Of course, the message that you send to the press is that we are trying to build something, but definitely it's a message to all the players. Listen, if you don't work hard, if you don't keep the rules that we got into the dressing room, and you don't look after yourself, I have zero problems because I've done it with probably one of the best players in the team. I put it on the side and look, today we won against Manchester City. The best that it can happen is that win against Manchester City, put in Rashford. From now on, every single one of the players that are involved, they know that from Monday, they need to start fresh and they need to start working hard, because if not, there is no space for them on the team.